Hello everyone, today I have here the perfect payment system. What makes it perfect, you ask? Well, you might have seen a little while ago a video by Cass on the Maizuma Games channel about what this entails. If not, I'll put a link on the screen now and I recommend watching it first. Essentially, the aim of this system is to make a shop which works just the same as in real life. It must provide both change and the excess stock and only accept the correct payment method. It can also be pre-configured to meet any ratio of items. It is an end-to-end payment system. So what this means is that if I want to have 20 of one item and then 6 of the other as the payment, then that's perfectly fine, or it doesn't matter what it is, it can be all changed behind the scenes. So we'll get started now, and I'll just put these items in first. So put 13 in, and then if we click the button and press, you can see that it's let us know that we're started, and we get on with it. It took me a little while to get around to this design, as I accidentally blew half of it up along the way. It took quite a lot to start over. But as you can see here, it is one wide. There's nothing else other than this one spot here. And whilst it is survival friendly, it doesn't use any command blocks or anything like that, or structure blocks, of course. I wouldn't advise building it in survival just yet. So we just put 13 items in the hopper and pressed the button as you saw, and those items started draining out of the chest beneath. And this system has already been set up so that we get 13 hoppers will give us 9 comparators. And as you put it in, you may have noticed too, the light lights up. That's just to say that it started. And so we just have to sit back and wait for it to come through. As you can see now, the items are making their way through the system. We get a little flash for each item as it makes its way to the top. So now we can go down and we'll just have a look. There we go. We've proven that we can do just a simple one-to-one transaction in that sort of sense, is that we put in the one side and we get out the other side for the ratio. But now let's do something a little bit more challenging for it. Let's say we put in 15, which is not an equal amount of payment, so there would be 2 change here. And then let's say we accidentally put our sword in there as well, so we'll definitely want that back. But let's press the button anyway, and we accidentally put that in there. Or maybe you were trying to cheat the system and put something else in. So we'll just see that the system is smart enough to filter those items out. And so the same thing again, we just have to sit back and wait for the items to go through and see what happens. Unfortunately, we have had to sacrifice some speed for this design, because the problem with making it one wide is you've got to make a sacrifice somewhere. So the sacrifice was in obviously keeping it to be a one wide system, and that was the benefit of it, but the sacrifice was that it's a lot slower as a result of being one wide. So there you go, we've just seen some of the flashes come through. And so there's actually a first flash, and then there was another 9 flashes, and then 2 flashes. So the first flash was the sword, the 9 is our comparators on the first payment, and then the 2 is our change there. So we'll take that back out here, we've got our sword back, so we're not losing any items to the system. Anything that we put in, no matter what it is, if you try and cheat the system, or if it's a non-stackable item, you unfortunately can't pay with non-stackable items, but you can receive non-stackable items if you like. And you can also, if you put them in just like that, it's not going to matter. So now what we're going to do is, what happens if we don't have enough stock? So we put in 26, and now I made sure that we were running low on stock before we started this. So we'll get started here, and it should run out after so there will be the first 9 comparators, and then it'll run out on the second 9, assuming I did my numbers correctly. Now, what you've noticed, or may have noticed rather, is this glowstone lamp down the bottom, a redstone lamp, and that's just an indicator of how much stock we have. Now, whilst this doesn't tell us if there's enough for one transaction, so it doesn't tell me that there's 9 comparators there, it does tell me that there's at least some comparators, and it'll turn off once we run out of comparators to pay back, and the system will actually work out, though, at what point it runs out and how much change to give back, and make sure to only give us the correct amount of comparators, so it doesn't give you half a payment back and to keep all your money. It'll give you your change back, and it'll give you back the items which were missing. The comparators which weren't used will then go into a separate chest to be put back into the system later. So as you can see, the light just ran out then during the system, and their items are coming back up here. So we've got our first 9 comparators have come through, saying that, alright, that's the one payment, but this payment did run out whilst trying to do the second payment. So we'll just sit around for a little longer, and as we can see here, items are coming back through the system. Now I think that's 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And so that's our 13 hoppers. And there we go. So just saying, alright, 9 comparators and 13 hoppers. So that's the excess, and we ran out of stock in the meantime. So there you go. We've essentially proven here that it's able to do everything. Now we're going to go and have a look at what makes it not very survival friendly. Just teleport over to here. Yep. Well, that's unfortunate. But there we go. So as you can see, this is massive. It's at least 50 blocks by 50 blocks in both directions. It is one wide, of course, but there is, unfortunately, to make it one wide, you've got to sacrifice the size and the speed, because you can really only work in that one plane, and you've got a lot of airspace. It's about 5,000 blocks, the actual dimensions of it, and probably I'd say, just looking at it, at least half of that is airspace. So you can see up the top left here as well, because due to the length of the system, whilst these items are put in here, you've actually got all of this excess back here, which is covered up. You could move this to the front if you'd like, but that's just how I wanted it. It'll just mean you just chuck in some extra hoppers here. So let's run through the system now, and I'll try and explain how it works. It's been quite a while since I did the first top half of it, and basically just this little bit down here is what got rebuilt. So we'll see how our memory goes and see if it's actually possible to explain it. So they put the items in here to start with, and so whatever your payment is in here, and then these are locked in here by this torch here until we press the button. So you press the button, extends out here, and this just activates the latch over here. So I've got an RS NOR latch here, and that's just to make sure that you can only send items through the system, the payment, whilst they're, you can only send them through once you need to, and then it will not lock the chest again until the items have emptied, because if their chest doesn't unlock or lock at the correct time, it will then have the items come up through the system and go back through the system, and you'll just have a loop of items. So the point of this RS NOR latch here is to stop that, and then the items will drain out. Now here's our first point for the sorter here. So this is when we put our sort in. Any item that is not able to go through our sorter, so in this case our hoppers, the basic item sorter, it'll go back through, down, all the way around, and back up to the top. Otherwise, if it does go through the system, it comes down to here, and everything builds up in this minecart here. So due to only having one minecart chest, our N for the input is actually limited by the number of items that you can fit in a chest. But then otherwise it's fine for the output essentially, except for it's also limited by the one chest. But once happens is, so once this chest empties, signal sends through here, and it reverts the RS NOR latch back, and it comes down and sends a pulse down through the system, and it cuts through this line here to get to this side of the chest, the minecart chest, and then it sends it off to the system. So the minecart comes along here, down here, and then it reaches here. And so these hoppers here actually determine the amount that we have to pay to receive it, to make the payment. So there's 13 hoppers here, and so that means 13 items go into the system. And so the only way to, unfortunately, if you want to increase or decrease this, is to put more hoppers in here. And there is a point in the system, I believe it's, where is it? This line here. It can be extended out, so you can extend either to the left or the right, and just extend whatever's along here, so just extra observers, extra minecart rails, extra dust. I made sure that you could extend it fine to here, and then just so you can increase the numbers of the items. And if you need less than 13, well, you just replace hoppers at the end with the replace the hoppers with blocks. But you will need to also adjust where this comparator is, as this comparator needs to be on the last hopper. So you'd have to move this comparator down a bit and along here. So it does require a bit of shuffling, but it can definitely be done. And unfortunately, I haven't done it in this system in the moment to show you, because as you can see, it is quite massive, and I don't exactly want to build that twice. And the reason I blew half of it up was trying to copy it over with structure blocks, and turns out I'm not very good at structure blocks. Anyway, so once it gets to here, this little bit here is determines whether there's a full payment or not. So this, if an item makes it into this spot, it means there was a full payment. And so this will activate the system come on here, and it turns out to this chest here. And so it works out here, if there is a full payment, it'll go across, and it'll unlock the full payment side. If there isn't a full payment, the signal gets the other way of the RSL latch and comes through here. And it comes down here and unlocks this side. The two sides then come down, and both of them come down to the bottom. And then it's basically here, so if it's not a correct payment, it comes through here, and it goes down and around and back up to the top. If it is a correct payment, it sits here, and then a signal is sent across this through here, and I won't explain everything that's going on here because we don't have that much time, and it's already been quite a while so far. Everything comes through here, and come over here, and that activates the payment. So what happens here, and this is actually a visual glitch here, so if I'll just reload here and show you that, is the system's causing quite a few problems for my computer, and for just Minecraft itself, it can't quite cope. You can see this, there we go, there's only meant to be the one cauldron here. So what it does, it sends a pulse through here, comes in here, and so this is the payment. So in here, we put in, and these are just any items here that are non-stackable, and it can pay anything up to one full item per transaction, one full chest per transaction. So at the moment it's set to 9, you could increase this or decrease it as much as you want. It's a lot simpler than the hopper for the input, fortunately, and realistically that could be replaced with a system like this with a bit more hassle. Unfortunately, I came up with this system second and that system first, and I kind of went with it because I didn't want to have to start all over again. Maybe a future iteration could fix that, but it works for now. So what happens is this comes up here, sits on the top, and then this system pulses, and so it just works out here, so it counts each time, so we get 9 pulses through here, and then so 9 items get spat out of here. These 9 items come down here, and the same thing here is we have another double lock for the system here, and so we work out basically whether we have enough stock to pay them, or if we don't have enough stock to payment, it'll go here, and so as we can see here, these are the excess items which from earlier when we didn't have enough stock in the system to pay them. So if there's not enough stock, it'll go here, and this can be taken out by the owner of the shop and put back up to here to be reused later. But if we do have enough stock, it'll come down here, through here, and along. So basically, any items that end up in this system come over to here and end up in this item elevator here. Now, this item elevator is a modified version of someone's else on YouTube. Unfortunately, the name escapes me at the moment, but I'll be sure to put them in the description and link them to the video. It's pretty similar in how it works, except I just made sure that it was one wide and fit in the system. And this sends up one item at a time, all the way up to the top, and up here, into this hopper line, and then we've just hooked up this tower here, through here, so we get the pulses, and so this just means every time an item reaches the top, it's going to then pulse this light. Once it gets through here, it comes through the blocks here, and so we've got minecart hoppers here, and this is something we've made, well, myself, I've made quite a lot of use of in the system, is using minecart hoppers to transport the items through blocks, just so we can have signals crossing over and make the one wide system a little more compact. So it comes through the hoppers here and back into here, and that's where we get our payments, which they are still left there from before. So that's the general gist of the system. There's a few other things behind the scenes. I'll quickly show a couple of them now as I can remember. And then there's there'll be definitely stuff that I've missed, and really even just looking at it, you probably won't be able to work it out. And I can tell you I can't really work out what most of it's doing. I just know that it works now because I've just spent so much time on it and just sort of adapting and just adding bits and pieces. I tried to very poorly use different colored blocks to separate the systems, but that was a bit rushed towards the end to make it a little easier. So I'll just explain. So this bit here is actually, it's a hopper timer. I believe it's Ethos hopper timer, but it's just been changed so that this is actually a buttered system, so that this will activate only when the minecart comes over here with items in it. If it hasn't got items in it, then it won't activate. But this just means that if there's still items in here, so there's still